Hello there, kia ora. On Sunday, I spent the day at Mahi down in Mount Roskill, and it was a fascinating experience. For a start, way too much sun for this time of year. And if you're one of the people who came up and said hi during the event, lovely to meet you all, and I really hope that you enjoyed the day. One of the groups that was represented here quite well was political party MPs. There were political party MPs from, well, almost every corner of the spectrum. There was an MP from ACT, there were a number of MPs from the National Party, a couple from the Green Party, and a fair few from the Labour Party. And so, as part of my role with this event, I had a chance to hang out with them and have a quick chat with a few of them. Not the ACT Party MP, she left pretty quick. But the others stuck around for a little bit, so I had a chance to have a quick chat to them. But also, I'm there in a work capacity, which meant that I can't ask them the sort of questions I would normally ask them if it was something like this or one of my live streams. So it was a really fascinating moment for me. So each of them were asked pretty much the same question: how's the job going since October? And I got some really fascinating responses. But I think what I find most fascinating about it is that if you didn't know where they came from, you would probably think that it was one of the other parties that said it, or you wouldn't be able to identify it. And so we're going to play a little bit of a game today. We're going to have a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to tell you five of the things that these MPs told me. And these comments come from across the political spectrum: National, the Greens, and the Labour Party. And I'm really curious to see if you can pick up which party said what. What was their stance that they were putting forward? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be hard to pick some of these. Like, one MP turned around and told me that the biggest issue they've got in their electorate at the moment is a disconnect between the public and the police. The public are not really happy with the police. They don't like to call them, they don't feel like the police are doing their job, so they don't call them. And the police, on the other hand, feel like maybe things aren't as bad out in the public because they're not getting these particular calls. So this MP wants to bring them together to have a meeting to basically sit down and air their grievances with each other and hear each other out. One of the other things that came up was about capital gains tax and just how angry the proposal for a capital gains tax makes some New Zealanders. They hear more feedback about capital gains taxes when it's in the rumour mill or when it's in the press than anything else that seems to come through. It seems to be an area that people are vehemently opposed to. And they're not quite sure yet how to tackle that or what to do with that in the future. There was also a really interesting conversation around the balance of expectations to probable outcomes when it comes to what local MPs can achieve. And one example that was given was an area that's seen a very public increase in crime lately, not having heard from their local MP recently, and how disconnecting that can be when you've got a local MP elected by locals and a list MP in the same area, and how you balance the expectations of what the public want and those outcomes that they expect, but what an actual MP can do. One of the other conversations that came up was about the importance of Auckland as an economic powerhouse for the country, and why it is so important that governments these days focus more specifically on Auckland than they do on any of the other centres. Not that they ignore them, but that Auckland, because it is so large and such a vital part of the economy, is a really, really important key focus for any political party going forward. And then finally, there was a really interesting conversation around the sharp increase of issues, this term in particular, that make the public feel like they want to see their MPs doing something to fix the problems at hand. And that might be something like showing up to a rally or going to a public meeting or making a public statement. But there seems to be more of an outcry for people wanting to hear or wanting to see their politicians doing something to make change, to make their lives better, to make the world a better place. Those five conversations were really fascinating, like absolutely interesting, and I'm really curious to know what your views are on them. But I'm also really curious to know whether or not you can pin which MP, which political party those particular comments came from. Maybe not which MP, but which political parties they come from for sure. So yeah, let me know in the comment section, and in the next couple of days I'll do an update and let you know which political party said what, and we'll see how well you did in trying to work out exactly who said what on Sunday.